All right, this is a Fox News alert this Friday night. You are looking live at an anti-ICE protest in Los Angeles. We will be monitoring this throughout the hour. This, as the anti-ICE rhetoric from the left is beyond vile. It's getting worse. You have washed-up comedian Kathy Griffin continuing with the left's Nazi comparison by accusing ICE of running concentration camps. Take a look.
Putting children on planes and taking them to detention centers, which are really concentration camps. Call it what it is. They're concentration camps in the United States of America in 2026.
Not to be outdone, well, washed-up actress Eva Longoria accusing ICE agents of murdering U.S. citizens. Take a listen.
They're blatantly murdering U.S. citizens, detaining 5-year-olds like Liam Ramos, patrolling schools and churches. So imagine what they're doing behind closed doors at detention centers.
Newly sworn-in governor of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, announced the launch of a portal to track and report ICE agents. Oh, that's going to keep them safe and secure. Here's what she said.
And we are also going to be standing up a portal so people can upload all their cell phone videos and alert people. Like if you see an ICE agent in the street, get your phone out.
Intro. And actor Giancarlo Esposito accusing rich white men of using their power to create the feeling of a civil war in the streets. Now, rhetoric like this, it's vile in any situation, but it's even more alarming when it comes from elected officials. That doesn't seem to want to stop the left wing from spewing that vitriol. Take a look at some of the recent comments from our guest, our next guest from Massachusetts, Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton.
Stephen Miller, the modern incarnation of the Gestapo right here in America, a racist full and through.
Those federal ICE officers are absolute cowards. I'm a Marine veteran standing here telling you to your face they are unprofessional, pathetic cowards.
ICE is beyond repair. It obviously needs to be abolished. But even more urgently, its gang of criminal enforcers needs to be prosecuted.
I don't think that the comparisons with Nazi Germany are extreme, because that's what happened too. That's why ordinary German citizens began to accept the idea that certain members of their community would be singled out. I mean, they have ICE tip lines, would be directly targeted in violation of the laws of the land.
All right, here now, Democratic Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton. I'm hoping, Congressman, we could have a conversation. First of all, you're a Marine. Thank you for your service. Semper Fi.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, look, you called me an idiot all week. I got to give you a chance to prove your point. So thanks for having me on.
Well, I did, and I believe that to be true, to be honest. I mean, you did call ICE cowards, and you want to prosecute them. You think it's okay for comparisons with Nazi Germany. Stephen Miller, who's Jewish, you compared to modern-day Gestapo. But I want to start with something else, and maybe you could explain this. When President Trump gave his joint speech before Congress, and he introduced the family of Laken Riley and the family of Jocelyn Nungaray, murdered by unvetted Biden-Harris illegal immigrants. I didn't see anyone in your party stand. Did you stand?
I actually was standing at the time in the back, so I was there. And then look, I don't think that Laken Riley should have been killed. I also don't think that Alex Preddy or Renee Good should have been killed. And
that's fair enough. We'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to establish where you're coming from. Now,
yeah.
I'm not
afraid to call out both sides here. Sean, I've criticized Biden for his immigration policy. I've criticized him for his Afghanistan withdrawal.
I'm going to scroll
I'm not afraid
the website.
to criticize him. I would love to see you criticize Trump once in a while. That's all I'm asking for. Let's just be honest here.
I think ICE has the most difficult job, and I'm going to scroll just to inform you and help educate you. The names of people that have been victims in your state of Massachusetts, the most violent, vile, vicious crimes. And as I scroll this, I want you to explain the people that risked their lives to arrest all of these people, murderers, rapists, violent criminals, the whole list of them. They were arrested because of brave ICE agents that you call cowards and that you think should be defunded and prosecuted. All those people would be on the streets of your state, but for ICE doing their job and putting their lives on the line. Don't you find that a little ironic that you're calling them cowards. They arrested all those dangerous criminals. You're going to defend that?
You know, Sean, I talk to cops all the time. There's no one who hates bad cops more than good cops because they give everybody a bad name.
Answer my question.
And I'm not saying
these are the worst people in your
that
state.
Good cops should be called cowards, but when you are essentially executing a protester on the street after you've 5 or 6 Border Patrol officers, are you telling me they're so pathetic they can't subdue this guy, that when he's down on the ground, he exercised his Second Amendment rights, but then they disarmed him and they're going to shoot him 10 times?
We can talk about the 2 cases in the news.
I think the people who break the law should be prosecuted.
But you're not answering my question.
Should be prosecuted? I think ICE officers who break the law should be prosecuted as well.
You said all of ICE. You didn't say that. You didn't clarify. You didn't put any qualifications on it at all.
Okay, well, I'm clarifying now.
Hang on. You said ICE are cowards. ICE should be defunded, and that ICE should be prosecuted. And you have no problem saying, generally, broad sweeping brush here, that they are Nazis, and it's okay to make that comparison. Now, as you answer the question, I'm going to show again all the people in your state that those brave officers arrested to keep your cities, your towns safe and secure. Don't you think you owe them an apology for your broad sweeping generalization that they're cowards that should be prosecuted and it's okay to call them Nazis? Don't you think you're putting their lives in jeopardy, Congressman? Take your time answering.
Don't you think that you should be able to call law enforcement officers who break the law people
you didn't make that qualification.
That's not hard.
You didn't make that distinction.
I don't have a problem.
You did not
saying,
make
Sean,
that distinction.
Wait, Sean, you're not letting me answer the question. I don't have a problem saying that the people you are scrolling on my screen should be prosecuted because they broke the law. I don't understand why the right has such a problem saying that federal officials who break the law should be prosecuted. And candidly, yes, I do think if you're wearing a mask trying to enforce the law, you think you're above it, you're a coward. I don't have a problem saying that. When I served in Iraq and people were actually shooting at me, I never wore a mask. People said lots of mean things to me. I never wore a mask. People assaulted me with that. They tried to kill me too, but when they assaulted us, we didn't turn around and murder them. That's just acting as a professional. And I think we should have that expectation of law enforcement.
Let me help educate you on this point. 8,000% increase in threats on ICE agents. Their homes have been doxxed. Their families have been threatened. 1,300% increase on assaults on ICE agents. 3,200% increase on vehicular attacks against them. So you make all these comparisons and you say all of this stuff. Why don't you just admit, and it wouldn't be that hard for you to do, or concede? I will say that in the case of Renee Good, she should not have accelerated her car and caused internal bleeding of that officer, and I believe that she initiated that. This guy, I think it's yet to be determined. We saw the video of him 10 days prior. Didn't look very good when he was spitting at, cursing at, and kicking the taillight off that car of those ICE agents and law enforcement. But here's your mistake. Instead of broad sweeping generalizations, I think you could do yourself and the country a lot of good tonight if you say, I made a mistake by saying every ICE agent is a coward, every ICE agent all of ICE should be defunded, they should all be prosecuted, and I think you owe Stephen Miller, who's Jewish, an apology for calling him modern-day Gestapo. I'm going to give you a chance to clarify or revise and extend your remarks, as you like to say in Congress. Would you like to do that?
Sean, you just put words in my mouth by saying every. That's not a word that I used. That's not what I said. But guess what? I've broken a taillight before. I don't think I should be executed for it. Do you blame the protesters in Iran?
That's not what happened. That was a separate incident.
That's gotten thousands of them killed. Is that your accusation? They shouldn't be using that insightful rhetoric.
I have your exact comment here.
In the street because the state police come down. The federal officers come down and kill them.
This is important.
I don't think that's right, Sean. I don't think that's very American.
You are cowards.
And what I would like you to say, I would like you to say maybe the administration should not be condoning this violence.
You need to be prosecuted.
Is that hard?
Are you saying? Did you mean to make a distinction between maybe a few bad apples, or are you saying all of ICE should be defunded? Are you saying it's okay to call all of ICE Nazis? Do you not see that is a loaded term? That is a loaded term that is insightful and dehumanizing.
Believe it or not, I believe in American values, and I think people who break the law should be prosecuted. That's kind of standard in America. You know?
I agree.
Like, we should prosecute
I agree with
criminals.
you. That means everyone that entered the country illegally should be arrested, right?
Hey, look, if you break the law, you should be prosecuted. I also think
and you have to be arrested.
Immigration reform. I also think that we should have immigration reform,
right?
Because there was an 18-year-old
so if you entered the country illegally,
who got arrested.
Wait. We found the point of agreement.
Order when he was 6.
If you entered the country illegally, you should be arrested and deported. Correct?
Do you
agree with that?
18-year-old who violated an immigration order when he was 6, he should be arrested for that? I don't think so.
I'm asking you.
I think we need to reform our immigration policy.
Don't you think
By the way,
you should?
The way that
as somebody that's put himself in harm's way,
and did in the
let me
Senate
ask this.
before Trump said that we should sink it.
Let me ask you a question.
An election issue.
As somebody that did put himself in harm's way, I would think you might have a little more insight than you're showing here. In other words, don't you think that 99% of soldiers that you fought with were good people that were risking their lives for a cause that their government believed in, right or wrong? Don't you think the 99% of ICE agents that are arresting the worst of the worst that Joe Biden allowed into the country, don't you think they deserve better than a broad sweeping generalization from an elected official like you calling them a coward that should be prosecuted and that their job should be eliminated? Why don't you just say, I meant the bad apples, Sean. You're right. Why don't you just say that?
Hey, Sean,
I'll give you one last chance.
Hey, Sean, I didn't serve with soldiers. I served with Marines. And yes,
Semper Fi.
They were really great Marines. And you know what? They would never behave like so many of these ICE officers.
You don't think there's a bad apple here or there
in Minneapolis?
There's not a bad apple.
Any 18-year-old private who did what those officers did to Alex Preddy or Renee Good, they'd be court-martialed. And that's what should happen with the ICE officers.
This is the last thing I'm going to say to you, and then I have to run. Listen, the problem is their job is hard enough. They're arresting the worst of the worst, even in your state, making your state more secure.
That's not an excuse for not following the law. They should be professionals like we were in Iraq.
I'm all for getting bad apples.
Was a little bit tougher than that.
The problem is what you're doing is you're inciting. What you are doing is speaking with broad generalizations.
No.
What you are doing is dehumanizing, and it is inciting a mob. And you need to, as a leader, de-escalate, not escalate.
You're siding with the regime in Iran, blaming the protesters for the fact that thousands of them.
I'm not blaming the protesters in Iran. I think they're brave. No, I think they're brave, and help is on the way.
The protesters in Minneapolis are brave too. I think they're exercising
What about the ones that are attacking officers and doxing them?
Kicking a taillight
They're not all good people.
Kicking a taillight is attacking an officer? Guess what?
Yeah, the officers have been attacked left and right.
You might be a great taillight protector. I don't think you should be executed for kicking a taillight, Sean. I'm sorry.
8,000% increase. You got to look at the stats. They're real. It's very hard what's happening, and you're causing it.
Yeah, you know what's also real?
Your irresponsible rhetoric is contributing to it.
Getting murdered is pretty real.
I got to take a break.
That's pretty real. And I think people should look at that and see what happened.
Well, let's see what the court system says.
Officers should be prosecuted. I think that's
a fair question. We'll see. You know what? I still have questions about that video. I want to get to the bottom of it just as much as you do. And
well, then let's have
I think time will tell.
I'm glad the president has backtracked and actually started.
I think you should apologize for your broad sweeping generalizations because you're inciting and you're putting their lives at risk, and you should know better. You should know better.
I think you should apologize for defending the administration when they call these protesters domestic terrorists.
They're the ones arresting all the bad guys, except you're making it hard for them. I got to
wait. This VA nurse was
I appreciate you being with us. Thank you, Semper Fi. Thank you for your service. All right, when we come back, Don Lemon taken into federal custody over his alleged involvement in the Minnesota church protest earlier the month. The one and only Senator John Kennedy. He actually calmed things down tonight, this Friday night, as we continue.